Shut up and sit down.
Where were we? Right. Decal time. Decal, decal, whatever you want to call them. First one's going to be tail fin. So, without further ado, I'll give that a soak in some water, which is just here. And literally, it's just a quick dip in the water, like so. Let that drain down. Just give that a little tweak, and then I'll rest that out of shot for a second. Bit of micro set. Ka-ching. Light in there for you, just so that we can see what's going on. Micro set. And I use a particular brush with that one, and then micro sole I use a different brush. I'll just have that out of shot. Since we last were together, I had a hard drive failure on my server, so a lot of the build video footage that I had of this has been lost, but the fuselage is joined, obviously the wings are painted. I've still got some more weathering to do and some engine paint. Pretty much beacons in place, all the LED wiring is done and it's tucked away in there. Some of it's covered with tape at the moment, it's just where I've been painting. And began to do some weathering. I've just got to let that dry. I'm playing with different weathering media at the moment for this, but we're now at the decal stage. I'm doing it quite early because I still want to do some bits and pieces to the plane to finish the weathering and that, but I am at the point really where I could do with some decals, so I'll give that a nice liberal coat of micro set on the tail fin there. Some of these decals are really quite sexy, and I'll just be doing those in stages. I have the instructions just out of shot up there, so that I can keep an idea of where I'm at, what I'm doing. But these really should be quite easy to apply. So without further ado, let's get the tail fin decal in place. He says optimistically, let's throw that in the bin and try to get that as near as I would like it to be in its final position, and then I can start brushing it across and that. So I'm just placing it where I think leading edges should or shouldn't be, and we'll go from there and see how we go. So that's roughly where I need it to be. Just give it a liberal dose of micro set all over the front face, like so. I'm not too worried about the decal conforming to shapes at the moment. That's what the micro sole is for. This is just to get it in place on the tail fin and ready where I need it to be. Slight bit of overrun on these decals I've noticed. I should be able to compensate for that with a bit of trimming and a bit of manoeuvring, but I'm not going to lose too much sleep at this stage over it, because I kind of want it to sit so that they meet in place. So I'm hoping that when I put the next one on, I can actually get them where I want them to be, which is kind of meeting up as near as damn it to the middle, so that they wrap around the front and the sides of the tail fin. But I can live with that for now. Ta-da! Booker soles well to get in there, you beauty. That's what we're looking for. Judicious amount of time talking to one's self as usual. Oh, fat fingers there. All in all, ain't too bad. Bob is one's uncle, so to speak. So let's get you on. Same again. Soak it in. I do them face down in the water, purely and simply because decals do curl, and I don't know, I find it a bit easier doing it that way. Face up, face down, whatever your choice, but for me, my personal preference is face down, and then I'll just have that resting on a glove off camera. I must admit, I'm liking it now already. It's that point of a build, this sort of stuff makes the difference. Oh, makes it come alive. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually see, I don't know whether to put both tail fins on or wrap one first. Let me have a think. Whilst the other one's soaking. Let's whack a bit of sole on there whilst that one's doing, because I just want to see how I can get them edges to sit down. Whilst the first decal is in place, a liberal dose of micro sole across the front edge of that. Apologies if I'm off shot. All I'm doing is just brushing micro sole onto the decal. The reason I keep going off shot is this is such a big plane that trying to get it in shot all the time is quite a challenge. But yeah, that's beginning to have the desired effect. And the thing with the micro sole is, once you've got it on there, is to avoid the urge to fiddle too much. Let the sole do its job. Its job basically is it melts the decal, makes it all crinkly, and then it shrinks it to shape as if by magic, and you end up with a really nicely placed decal where you want it to be, and you go from there. Nice bit of micro set along there. Just have a quick peek at the instructions to make sure that I'm going to be putting that in the right place. That's the last thing I want to do, is put it in the wrong place. Once it's on, it's on. It's pretty much along there somewhere. Again, I can move it as I choose. Literally just off shot, I have a picture on the instructions of the model of where the decal is supposed to be placed, and it's just a matter of figuring it out as to where I need it to be. It's round about there. Edge of the N goes to the first window, fractionally above it. So we are sort of going around this area. That should then bring that there. So some of these letters actually disappear into the windows themselves. So that's going to be intriguing to get them into place. But that looks pretty much where we need it to be. Make sure we're looking reasonably where we need to be. Yeah. Hold that up next to there to see. Yeah, that's where you want to be. Okay. Height away from that. Ta-da! Like I say, when they're in place, they're pretty much set. Just need a bit more height on that. Just to get it exactly where we want it to be, because I've got decals to go around the door as well, and I don't want that to overrun at all onto the existing pieces. This is a tad fiddly, but as you can see, well worth it. So yeah, once that's set, I can then put the sole on and these letters shrink into the window bays. Pardon me. Let's hang that up there. Just off camera. There you go. Whilst that's doing its job, I'll see whether or not that's beginning to sit down. With a bit of micro salt. Just run a bit more around the edge of that tail fin decal. Just to begin to get you to roll around, which is what we want. So it's beginning to. Okay, we don't want to go too mad. It's quite difficult actually keeping everything in shot for you all, because again, like I said, the size of this particular kit does make it a bit cumbersome to keep in shot, so I do apologise if I keep going out of shot. It's not intentional at all, it's just an awkward size kit to try to keep in shot at all times. It's beginning to do the job. Right. There you go. Ed Force 1 is coming alive. Haven't seen this plane close up. It's quite enjoyable to actually be building one. So yeah, I'm pretty lucky I got to see it. So yeah, again, it's like anything, once you've physically seen what it is you're building, you kind of feel privileged in a way. to actually see the finished product. Let's just pick you up and start working in a bit of microset to start moving the decal about to where I want it. It needs to come down quite a bit. It needs to be down here. Worry when you start moving decals about how they're going to react to it, but these ones could probably do with being made in stages so that you can work them a little bit easier. I know for the next side I'll probably put them in a couple of pieces, but it's beginning to go where I need it to go. Again, I'm off shot, but I'll edit that so that this appears to be in shot a bit more than it currently is. And that just needs to come down that way and then back. Up the way like so. Yeah, the 747's always a plane that I've liked, along with Concorde. It's got a certain appeal about it. I remember as a child sort of seeing the first 747 close up at Heathrow. I was just fascinated by it. Just totally and utterly transfixed as a child. This huge plane, and it was like, how did it manage to fly and stay up there? So yeah, that was my baptism into the world of planes, really, was that trip to Heathrow with an uncle. And then obviously Concorde and seeing stuff like that, I've always been in awe of flight, how it's possible, how people can manage to get up there and fly these things. So yeah. That's in place. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just counting the windows off camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's pretty much where it needs to be now. Put ourselves world tour. Come to daddy. See, it's looking good already. But it does make such a huge difference. Just get a few decals on there. Suddenly it's gone from being slightly bland. Just having a bit of life. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Hey, another one bites the dust. Right, so number 4 is the other tail fin. So let's cut that out and get that ready to go on. That's going to go on next as well. Number 5. Decal stage is always exciting. I love decals. So that's that one. And what I'll do is get these on, let these set overnight, and then move on to the more finicky of the decals once these have had a coat of clear. Just like to protect stuff as I go, especially where you're handling the project. You kind of just get a little bit nervous that you might catch a decal where you don't want to and ruin the product. So I like to be quite methodical. So where I've got all the windows and doors and stuff like that, I'll set this under its own layer of clear, then come back and do the next round of decals, again another coat of clear, and keep going until they're all done. It just gives a little bit of protection to it, because the last thing you want to do is undo all your hard work. Okay, but that's beginning to look rather nice, and then I can play with this and get that in place, and then let these two decals stretch with the micro thaw overnight. There you go. La 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 la. I've also got the London bus build on the go, just out of shot. Lots of modifying on that kit has taken place, and yeah, I'm kind of liking it. That video is going to be uploaded to YouTube shortly, or be on my channel. So we'll get some feedback on that. I think I've certainly not seen any done that way, so might be starting a trend there. It's one of those, when I first thought of the modification, I knew there was going to be a lot of work to achieve it, but at one point I did think I'd perhaps bitten off more than I could chew, because it has been a very difficult modification to do, but worth it, certainly worth it. certainly worthwhile doing. And it's just a matter now of moving this one to where I wanna. Couldn't have got that a better fit if I'd tried. Oh, as he's bashing the living daylights out of his tripods. Apologies, people. Look at that. Oh, I'm loving it. Right, I think we can get a bit of micro sole on that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. There's another one to go on. Yes. We love it when a plan comes together. Oh yeah, that's sitting in there gorgeous now. And again, I shall go over all of these with another bit of micro sole, just so that they shrink back. But that one's oh, I've got all cold just thinking about that one. A little bit of set on here. Must have I've had the pleasure of seeing Iron Maiden quite a few times now, and they're like a good wine. The older they get, they seem to become a better vintage. Some classic music. Great band live. Very few bands these days can do it live as well as they do it on record. Iron Maiden are one of those bands that can. But talent that takes, well, I wish I had it. I really do, but I haven't. So I stick to my models, let them do the music, let me listen to it. That works for me. But get out and see them. Buy their albums, buy their stuff. If you've not listened to them, you are missing so much. They seem to be attracting a new generation of fans. I go by my own sons. Both have gotten into the music. So yeah, I would heartily recommend them to anyone. Five, yeah, we're sitting there just where we want to be, like so. So what I'm doing is I'm comparing the other side just so that I get them symmetrical as I can, and it's just up a tad more across the board, just like that. Oh. Luckily with the lines on the actual aircraft you can get a decent alignment on these decals. Like so. Make sure that I'm looking fine and dandy-o. Make sure that's level. I'll never forgive myself if it isn't. And that is the Book of Souls 747 coming together. Not too sure about these two little bits that keep crossing over, so I'm hoping I can keep that point where it needs to be, because it is crucial. But that is looking such a nice decal in place. Oh, loving it. I'm going to let that soak a bit longer than I normally would this time, just to see whether that gives me a bit more play with it, because the last side that went on was a little bit touch and go with whether or not it would tear or not. I really don't want them to tear if I can help it, so we do what we can to encourage them to comply. Sneak peek of my bus engine that I'm building for my London bus. Brum, 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 brum. That's all you're getting. until you watch the videos of that coming together. Certainly is coming along nicely though, if I may say so myself. Yeah, that's coming along nicely. So let's see whether we can get a slightly better result first time than I did with the last one. Fingers and thumbs. Yes, that ain't pretty much where we need that to land. Just getting the placement there. Yeah, and then I can then do a bit of sliding. To meet that panel line is where it needs to rest. Up there. So we just persuade it gently, piece by piece, little by little. Gradually the decal moves where you want it to. Just check to make sure that we're still as near in place as I want it to be. Brush out some creases. Like so. And that. I think is beginning to take shape nicely. Still got the temptation to want to fiddle. I need to resist on this. How's that look? In place? Yeah. It's just up a tad. That's all it is, a hair. There you go. That's where you want to be. So we got you. Like that. And that is the main decals I wanted to achieve today. Well, I say today, but in this little section, because I want the micro sole to do its job and shrink those back to where I'd like them to have their final resting spot. So I just feel that I can get away with putting some on. I just slap it all on there, like so. This stuff honestly is amazing. what it does to a decal. It stops it looking like it's been stuck on and makes it actually look a part of the actual model you're applying the decals to. So any panel lines, creases or anything like that, this stuff will make the decal conform to it. It just takes its time. You've got to let it do its job, and it will eventually shrink decals over edges and all sorts of little bits and pieces of detail. Let's give that another larrapin. Same with that one, that can have some more. And last but not least, this one. We hope should let them decals start conforming to what we want. Part of that is that. It is the case now of just leaving it. Just want to sort that little nook out there. It really wants to fight me, that little part, for some reason. I can figure that out. I can lose that just by a deft bit of cutting. But there we have a bit of Iron Maiden livery going on Air Force One. They seem to be lining up nicely. So we'll let the decal set do its job on that, and then we'll be moving on to the rest of it, which, as you can see, there's quite a few decals. Engine cowlings, windows, window frames, so yeah, quite a few bits and pieces there. All the tour dates and different logos and stuff going on there, but we've made a start by getting these 3 each side done. Leave them overnight, let the microsole do its job, and we can come back with the rest of these and start putting them in place. A bit of clear over every layer should give us the desired result that we're after. And we can get this build suitably finished. It's been a while. Various distractions and things that have been going on day to day that have prevented me from getting around to finishing this. But we're getting there.